Every story about the end of the world ends in ashes. The fire comes, the cities fall, and that's usually it. But one 500-year-old manuscript from India keeps writing past the war, and on that very page, it writes a number 1009. Welcome to this explainer finale. Today we're skipping the standard introductions because we need to build immediate focus around an ancient blueprint that literally looks past the apocalypse. Okay, let's dive right into this incredible cold open. We've got some massive questions to answer here. What exactly survives the final war? Who is going to rule over the ashes? And why is the year 2032 recorded as the dawn of a brand new world? To figure this all out, we're going to break this down into 4 distinct chapters: the last morning, the 100,000, the seed, and finally, the dawn. Now, to really grasp this blueprint, we have to start by defining our source. We are looking directly at the Bhavishya Malika. These are highly specific, deeply detailed prophecies written on ancient palm leaf manuscripts. If you're not familiar, a palm leaf manuscript is a traditional medium where the text is actually inscribed directly onto dried palm leaves. These texts have been preserved for centuries, and they offer this staggering, meticulous look at the end of our current age and the incredibly structured kingdom that follows it. According to the text, these scriptures were authored by the Panchasakha. These are the 5 great saints of Odisha: Achyutananda Das, Yashabanta Das, Sishu Ananta Das, Balarama Das, and Jagannath Das. And we need to be crystal clear here. According to the Bhavishya Malika, they were great saints who recorded these vast prophetic volumes under direct divine instruction. All right, let's move right into chapter 1, the last morning. Let's look at how this whole thing builds, starting with the close of an old age. The texts reveal that we are standing right at the seam of 2 eras. First, we need to define what those are. We are currently at the very end of the Kali Yuga. The scriptures define this as a 5,000-year cycle of intense materialism, conflict, and societal decay. We are transitioning out of that and into the Satya Yuga, which is the impending era of absolute truth, justice, and dharma. Now, this transition period is marked by some serious global friction because the old systems literally have to collapse so the next cycle can begin. What's truly fascinating here is the exactness of the math. We aren't dealing with vague timelines or open-ended guesses. Mahapurush Achyutananda Das explicitly writes that when the Kali Yuga's 5,000 years are completely finished, the new age begins. It is an exact, specific measurement of time. According to the Bhavishya Malika, specifically in the Kali Kalpa Gita, Chapter 7, page 21, it states verbatim that when those 5,000 years end, the Satya Yuga begins to shine forth that very day. It's an immediate, divinely scheduled transition. But how will people actually know this transition is happening? Well, the text outlines some specific scriptural signs for this period. According to the Kali Kalpa Gita, as the old age closes, the Sri Mandir, the great temple, becomes stripped of its splendor for a time, and the ancient Rath Yatra festival eventually halts. Now, it is crucial to understand that this halt is an undated scriptural marker. It's a profound sign of the changing ages, but the text provides no specific calendar date for it. It's an eventual, defining sign of the times. And as the final war brings this era of decay to a close, the geopolitical landscape shifts in a massive way. The scriptures state that a saintly king named Maru, who's actually been in penance in the Himalayas since a previous age, will be crowned at Delhi. He is crowned there to guide this transition and bring justice back to the capital. Which brings us to chapter 2, the 100,000. This is where the ashes of the old world settle, and a brand new global structure is established. So the crucial point here is this specific duration. What exactly survives? The text outlines a magnificent 1,009-year kingdom. This isn't just some brief, fleeting period of peace. According to the Bhavishya Malika, this is a meticulously structured reign of absolute dharma and truth that extends across the entire earth for exactly 1,009 years. So who governs this massive new era? The texts describe a time when just 3 or 4 devotees per village remain, living on nothing but air and the holy name. According to the Bhavishya Malika, the Supreme Lord will completely centralize global governance. He will anoint exactly 100,000 devotees, 1 lakh, as the appointed rulers and kings of various regions worldwide. 100,000 devotees, empowered to enforce peace and truth across the globe. Let's move right along to chapter 3, the seed. Because this deals with something even more profound than governance. It's about the preservation of humanity itself. How does anyone even survive the friction of these changing ages? Well, the Shausathi Patala on page 196, Pada 74, states verbatim that Mahaprabhu will winnow humanity. Think of it just like a farmer separating the valuable paddy from the useless chaff. The Lord will protect those who shed their ego and desire through all this chaos. It's a highly specific process of divine selection. And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute precision of the Panchasakha. Out of this massive winnowing process, exactly 99,996 great souls will be preserved, specifically in the state of Odisha. The text refers to them as the seed. They are carried over from the Kali Yuga to act as the spiritual foundation, the pure seed, to repopulate and establish the divine consciousness of the new Satya Yuga. Now, it is absolutely vital that we don't confuse these two teachings because they serve entirely different divine purposes. The 1 lakh, or 100,000, are rulers appointed worldwide to govern the 1,009-year kingdom, but the 99,996 great souls are a completely separate group, strictly preserved in Odisha to act as the spiritual seed of the new age. These are two different numbers with two entirely different divine purposes, and they should never be merged. So where does that put us in this timeline right now? Well, according to the Bhavishya Malika, a major astrological trigger is the Mina Shani Yoga, which is Saturn entering Pisces. And that actually occurred on Saturday, March 29th, 2025, fulfilling a very specific dated sign. Then we can look at some highly resonant real-world news. We have the verified stampede in Puri on July 16th, 2026, the devotee death on July 24th, followed by the Balasore temple theft on July 25th. Now listen, these are observed, verified, real-world events. They are absolutely not the predicted halt of the Rath Yatra. Remember, that's an undated scriptural sign. But these events act as undeniable signs of the incredible turbulence the text described. Which brings us to our fourth and final chapter, the dawn. When does this new era actually officially begin? When does the light break through? By cross-referencing the incredible mathematics across the manuscripts, specifically looking at the Kali Chautisa by Haridas and the Patamadana by Shiju Anantadas, the end of the Kali Yuga's 5,000 years definitively decodes to a very specific anchor point, the dawn of 2032. That is the year the Satya Yuga is set to shine forth. And you know, this isn't a timeline of fear. It's a timeline of immense hope. According to the Tara Janla Sharana, chapter 67, this dawn brings the ultimate divine vision, the darshan of Sita Rama. And the Kalki Gita in Adhyaya 6 assures us that for the devoted, Lord Kalki will personally remove every earthly obstacle. So the end of the world as we know it is actually the beginning of something beautiful. So how do we prepare? The scriptures offer a really warm, accessible path forward, but we need to define two essential practices first. The first is Trisandhya, which simply means the practice of performing daily prayers 3 times a day. The second is Madhava, which means taking absolute refuge in the holy name of the Supreme Lord. According to the Bhavishya Malika, this is the completely zero-cost path to secure your place past the transition. Begin the daily practice of Trisandhya. Take up the holy name of Madhava, and regularly study the Srimad Bhagavat Mahapurana. The text tells us that completing these simple, zero-cost steps purifies the individual. It sheds the ego and completely prepares the soul for the light of the new age. The 10,009-year kingdom is absolutely not a message of doom. It's a message of profound hope. It's a blueprint for a world rebuilt on absolute truth and divine structure. The texts have laid it all out for us. The door is open right now, and the dawn of 2032 is fast approaching. So the only real question left is, when that kingdom begins, will you be ready to walk through that door and stand in the light?